Welcome back to GenZInsights. I'm Glenn. Today we're going to be doing a breakdown of the heavily anticipated heavyweight matchup between Anthony Joshua and Olexander Usyk. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here and give this video a like if you enjoy. But let's get right into the breakdown. So to begin, we have Anthony Joshua, or as many refer to him as AJ, versus Olexander "the Cat" Usyk. Taking a look at the tail of the tape here, we have 4 current heavyweight world titles for Anthony Joshua, but Usyk was undisputed at cruiserweight, so he won just as many titles, and honestly, you can make a good argument that pound for pound at their weights, Usyk is the better fighter. You could easily make that argument. But we do clearly see that AJ has the youth advantage at 31 years of age versus Usyk at 34 years of age. Now, the big question I have for you guys is that too late of an age to make the heavyweight jump, especially fighting at the elite and championship level at heavyweight division? We'll definitely have to wait and see if that's a difference maker in this fight. We have 25 wins for AJ in his career respectively, and 18 wins for Usyk. Obviously, we're not counting their Hall of Fame amateur backgrounds, of course. They both had many fights, both Olympic gold medalists, amazing fighters from when they started fighting all the way up to now. We have 1 loss for AJ. If you've kept up with his career, obviously you know he's lost against Ruiz, but he did regain his belts back with that rematch. We have Usyk, an undefeated champion, has never tasted defeat, not in the pro leagues. And I think that is a big mentality switch. For AJ, you have the mentality of I never want to taste defeat again, versus Usyk's I've never lost at this level and I don't plan on losing anytime soon. We have a 6'6" AJ versus a 6'3" Usyk. He clearly has the size advantage there, and that could play a massive factor. But I know that Usyk has been putting work in against these massive, brolic dudes in sparring. If you've seen his stuff on Instagram, he posts stuff with massive dudes, and I guarantee you he is getting prepared for the freight train that is Anthony Joshua for this upcoming Saturday. We have an 82-inch reach versus a 78-inch reach. AJ should be able to maintain the jab, keep the distance on the outside if he chooses to fight that way. But one of the most important breakdowns is orthodox versus southpaw in Usyk. Clearly, Ruiz was a southpaw, and that did give him a little bit of trouble. I think it was more of just him getting hit right in the right spot at the wrong time and not being able to recover, rather than a orthodox versus southpaw disadvantage for AJ. And then we have the UK versus Ukraine. So this is 2 great countries. It's going to be a massive fight for both fan bases, both countries, and even America. Like I said, this is one of the biggest fights in heavyweight boxing, and I am absolutely stoked for the opportunity to see this fight go down. Like I mentioned earlier, AJ did lose to Ruiz. He was a southpaw, and I do just honestly believe Usyk is a much better fighter and technical boxer than Andy is. Both fighters bring different strengths than the other. This is a true 50-50 fight.
50-50.
And this is why it's going to bring so much excitement to boxing in the heavyweight division. It'll be one of the biggest fights of the year. I guarantee it. And clearly these are both just veteran boxers, arguably both top 10 in the world. That's what I'm saying, guys. We don't get to see these fights very much. If you have 2 top 10 guys in the same division, there's usually promotional issues or money issues, and those fights don't get made. So enjoy it while you can, and make sure to catch this fight on Saturday night. Obviously, AJ's last fight was against an aging 39-year-old Pulev. In my opinion, I do see Usyk as a much better fighter than Pulev at this moment in time, just given his age factor. And then AJ, what I seen from his last fight, he kept his power going into those later rounds. It was a fantastic sign to see, and he got Pulev the hell out of there. He took care of business. AJ showed that he has tremendous power in both hands, obviously equal power in his hooks especially, and that is a very special trait to have as a fighter, a boxer, and a combat sports athlete. And surprising as it is, most fighters don't have the same exact strength in both hands, and I do think that's a massive advantage for AJ going into this fight. But Usyk, on the other hand, he is the 4th horseman in the heavyweight division. Win or loss, it doesn't matter. He can fight these top guys in the heavyweight division and make massive events, tons of money, and put on tons of entertainment for the fans, whether that's against AJ again, Wilder, or Fury. He has those options. He's that good. He's that legit. So I'm very excited to see him step up against the elite level competition in the heavyweight division. Usyk, of course, like I said earlier, he's an Olympic gold medalist in the 2012 Olympics. He's only had 2 fights at heavyweight since his undisputed reign at cruiserweight. His last fight, he actually won by unanimous decision over Chisora. It was not a KO. If you guys had the chance to check out that fight, it did seem like, Chisora's weight and size advantage did give him a little bit of trouble, and I think it could very well be the same story come Saturday night. I believe that Usyk has everything he needs to be the best boxer in the world, even at heavyweight. He has the hand speed, he has the skill, he has terrific combos, but the only thing is he does lack in size for the heavyweight division. Like I said, he was not able to finish Chisora, and I think size was the biggest factor that contributed to that. Usyk as well is just a phenomenal counterpuncher. He kind of reminds me of a cruiser heavyweight Lomachenko in a way, with his footwork, his head movement, and his overall boxing IQ, which is an absolutely terrifying thought if you think about it, and if you keep up with Lomachenko's career as well. I would say though that AJ, he does have a weaker chin than Chisora. Showing up to this point, he has a weaker chin. I think that's his main weakness going into this fight, but one thing is AJ has often overcome being hurt in fights. The only time he didn't was against Andy Ruiz. He got hit right on the temple, and honestly, there was just nothing he could do after that. But I would absolutely not say the KO was out of question for Usyk here, given his speed, his power, his precision, and his counterpunching ability. That is not out of the question for this fight. Usyk, obviously, if you kept up with his career, he's a funny, low-key guy, a different cat, as they like to call him.
How do you feel?
I'm very feel.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very fine.
He seems like a great guy, but he honestly doesn't have that name or the star power that AJ brings. AJ is younger, he's big brand sponsored, and he has that perfect, star personality and look, to be completely honest. I do think that AJ winning this fight is ultimately a greater story and a longer lasting one given the age factor, but Usyk has boxed his whole entire life. He deserves the opportunity to play spoiler in this event and possibly become undisputed heavyweight and cruiserweight champion of the world, which would be absolutely historic and honestly beyond legendary. So I would love to see both outcomes here. That's what makes this fight so entertaining. But ultimately, it really just comes down to an undefeated mentality, like I said earlier, versus an AJ's mentality to never want to taste defeat again. Those are both great mentalities to have, and I don't know if you could argue one is better over the other. They both do not want to lose, and they both want to show that they are the best in the division. But I do, of course, give AJ the power advantage. Usyk isn't a true heavyweight in size and power, in my opinion, given that he entered the heavyweight division at an advanced age. I believe he entered it at 32 or 33 years of age. Of course, AJ has the height, the reach, and the weight advantage. And a fun fact, AJ is actually about 20% bigger than Usyk is, which is absolutely insane. That could cause huge problems for Usyk. And, credits to Usyk for taking this fight and wanting to be legendary. I would say that skill level, it is on an even playing field. I think Usyk is a bit faster, he has better combos, and Usyk is a true technician. I love AJ's game, but if we're talking about skill for skill, I might have to give Usyk the advantage. But coming up to the heavyweight division is where it's going to make the biggest worlds of difference there. And I do want to add that Andy Ruiz is clearly a faster puncher than Usyk, and in my opinion, he carries more power at the heavyweight division given that he's fought there his whole career, and he's just a much bigger guy in weight. I want to say that Usyk is a better boxer, he has a higher IQ, and in my opinion, it's going to be a much bigger test than even Andy Ruiz was, even given the fact that Ruiz won that first fight against AJ, which again goes to the excitement of this fight. AJ, on the other hand, he's stronger than Chisora was. Usyk's last opponent. He's more active, he's a better combo puncher, and overall he's just a smarter fighter with higher IQ and more ring generalship. This is going to be a hell of a test for an undersized Usyk, but this is what legends are made from, and this is what the excitement gets built from. And shout out to DAZN if fighters can actually get paid their true worth on the DAZN subscription model. If so, there's honestly nothing that's better. It is geared towards a younger generation, and they are clearly just more conscious of the fact that it can be very hard for some of us to scrape up $60 just for one fight. With the DAZN subscription model, you get 4 weekends of fights instead of 1, and it's a third of the price as well. So shout out to DAZN, go get your subscription now, because this is going to be one of the biggest fights of the year. You can book it. This creates a new path going forward in the heavyweight division, and a fight that we will look back in history on 5 and 10 years down the line. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Usyk can weather an early storm and start to calculate the openings in AJ's game? Or do you think AJ lands a huge shot early, puts him down, Or do you think he outboxes him and outworks him for 12 rounds? Make sure to let me know in the comments section below. Make sure to like this video and follow me on all social media platforms. The links are in the description below. AJ versus Usyk fight highlights breakdown coming soon.